I ordered most of our seeds this year from High Mowing and Johnny Select Seeds. If you aren't familiar with these two, I highly recommend checking them out. Johnny's actually has some really great online resources, seed calculators and all different things. So not just selling seeds. So, but again, both I've had great luck with over the years. I keep all my seeds in a craft art bin. Works pretty well for me. So you can see I've kind of organized them different ways. Throughout the season, I might reorganize these in different ways that will work best for me. Everything from super hot chili peppers to beans and peas and corn, and this bin right here is all the different flowers, seeds that I have, cucumbers and summer squash and onions and a bunch of different things, carrots. So I've got a lot here. I'm not going to go through every single seed that we're going to use this year. That would take quite a bit, but I will continue to go through them as I start planting them. I do like to try different varieties, so unless it was an amazing one from this past season, I might switch it up. You'll see that from the peppers that we ordered this year for sweet peppers. I'm still doing the Ace hybrids. Those always do really well, and it's just a staple. But I also have ordered a few different varieties to mix it up for some of the colored sweet peppers this year. So as I'm starting seeds, this is just, January 23rd, 2022. I'm going to actually be starting some seeds today. So a few hours ago, I came down and started the heat mat here. And poured some water in the base, and then added some seed starter mix. This is the black and gold seed starter mix here. It's really fine, so I don't need to sift through it, which I like for starting seeds. Once I transplant, I'll go to a little bit more of a chunkier compost mix. But they were really dry from being stored in here the last month or so. So I added water to the soil in the potting mix in here. And then I added water to the bottom of the basin here and let them soak, put the soil in these 4-inch pots, and then from there put them into the water and let them warm up. Temperature is about, I think it's like 68, 69 in here right now Fahrenheit. We do have our fish tanks in here, and so it doesn't get very cold in this basement, but wanted the water to warm up to room temperature before I was starting seeds. So now this water that didn't soak up into the soil, I'm gonna get rid of. So I'm not gonna leave these with this much water now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sprinkle some seeds on the tops of each one of these, and then sprinkle some soil from the bin behind me over top of that and do just a really light pat. I don't want to put my finger down in and push all compact that soil. This is just for germinating these seeds. And so we're going to start with some of the peppers. So I'll have one of these, might have 5 or 6 pepper seeds, and then I'll transplant them into their own pots once they get about probably at least minimum 2 true leaves, maybe even more. Depends on how they're looking. I also had started lettuce a while ago, and I haven't been paying attention to it much. So that's the stuff down here. These are just salad mixes so that we can have some lettuce here in another few weeks. They were really dry, and on top of that, I didn't have fan going down here yet, so I need to get the fan going today. So what I've been doing is patting them down, and I also watered over the top of them to add some pressure. If you hear someone say you got to talk to your plants, a lot of that is about causing wind. So even though these look really scraggly right now, that's on purpose. I probably should have done this video before, and it would have looked nicer, but I think this is important. So patting your plants, kind of brushing your hand across the top lightly. And then I also will use a spritz bottle, which will cause some movement, and then I'll have an oscillating fan. So not the wind won't be on these all the time. And then once they get knocked over, like an hour or two later, I'll come back in, try to pick them back up a little bit if they haven't done it, but they'll do it themselves. So, and back here, you can see we have a super hot ferment going in this 5-gallon bucket that is full. Jay's been fermenting, I think, we must be at over 2 months now, I think. So he'll have to check that when I'm not down here. For fertilizers, I'm going to try this year for the starter mix. It's a 333. It's a granular, so I can mix it in with the soil, which I'm excited about, versus having to worry about dousing too much fertilizer at once to the seedlings. This is a safer way to go with a granular. And then once they get going, I was looking at for your NPK numbers for the seedlings. When we want a lot of green growth, I want to start with a high N here. But read up on any fertilizers you're going to use. I do like the Down to Earth brand. And I'm not a pro at fertilizing. I don't try to do too much of specific ones for specific plants. I like the all-purpose ones quite a bit on a regular schedule, like a 2-week schedule out in the gardens, which you probably would have seen over this past season. So seeds, I'm pretty much fully loaded now. Pretty excited about that. Starting some peppers today. Will be guajillos, poblanos, and then some super hots, things that I want to have early fruit on for this season. And then lettuce, I've got the spring mixes going. And so what we'll do is we'll be actually chopping these with a knife for early, like little mini, once they're about this big, for early salads. And then here's the kind of the light setup right now we have going. And then I just use a tote that we can put a top on for the soil. So not too complicated of a setup here. As we get going, we will add another table down here. We'll add more lights down here as we continue to add on. Last year I started the earliest peppers January 31st, so I am about a week plus earlier than last year for some of these peppers. But my plan is a little bit different, where some of these peppers will actually be going into the greenhouse. I'm going to target our hoop house. We're zone 5B in Mass, and our average last frost date is May 20th. But in the greenhouse last year, we were good, I think, in the greenhouse end of March, early April. We didn't have any frost in the greenhouse. So I'm going to try to move and actually plant some of these in the ground, in the raised beds, in the hoop house, as early as April this year. So I want these to actually be pretty good size by the time I'm planting them out. I will be doing some bringing them in and out a few times to try to get the sunlight adjusted, because your lights are never going to be as strong as the sun. And then also for the cold tolerant nights and the heat swings. So that is the status. I'm going to plant some of these, and I will give a quick update in a minute. All right, so I took a quick break, but one of the things I realized I didn't mention was in here, what I do is I actually leave last year's empty seed packets in here, so I know which ones I grew for next year, because I found making a list isn't as helpful to me as actually saving the actual seed packets, so I know where I got them and everything. So what I did is I just went through and emptied out the empties of here. I had actually gone through each bin when I was doing my seed order, but I didn't take them out until I actually got the new ones in to make sure that I got the right things. So there are, I think, 2 or 3 things that we know we need to order already, and the seed packets being out of here now will make me know exactly what the gaps are in our seeds. So now this is much more organized. So in the front here, we've got our greens, lettuce, kales, spinach, mustard greens, and then over on this side here, I've got some herbs, dill and cilantro and basils. Back here, I've got squash. I am missing baby Pam's, which I had ordered, so I need to go back through and the order list and find where those went. So watermelon, cucumber, pickling cucumbers are all in there. These are the flowers. I still need to go through this part of the bin. Back here, I've got the kind of more like the root vegetables, carrots, beets, fennel, celery, celeriac, which is celery root, asparagus, daikon radish, and yeah, lots of beets. We actually really like the beet green, so I'm trying different varieties to see which ones we like the most. Over in this bin, we've got onions and corn. Kind of a funny mix, but that works for me right now. Here I've got tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, paste tomatoes, and tomatillos. And then this packet is the hot peppers, and then here I've got the sweet peppers. And then up here, peas and beans. So that's kind of how I've organized it right now. I will continue to move it around, but just to show you, these are all the empty packets that I had taken out from earlier. And I have a pile upstairs too of duplicates. I did find a few things that I want to plant right now while going through that. I've got the poblanos, ancho poblanos. They're poblanos when they're fresh, and when you dehydrate them, they become anchos. Got cumin. It's a new one that I want to try. I want to grow this in the greenhouse. You'll notice here it's 100 to 115 day. Not huge on height, but they want to be above 50 at night consistently. So it's going to be much easier for me to plant them in here and move them into the greenhouse to be sure that we'll be good there. And then giant winter spinach. I want to start this in here and move it out to the greenhouse actually pretty fast. Probably when they're about this size actually. So we'll see how that goes. All right, we've got some seeds planted. Got the dome on, the heat mats on. So now we just wait. I will let you guys know when we get our first germination over here.